right, I'll be right back. Make a coffee, make yourselves comfortable, give everybody a chance to come in, and then we'll get through these. What's good, everybody? Let's get this party started. Hello, hello, welcome back. Thank you all for returning. I really appreciate you guys having some patience of me having to take care of family things. We are going to get started with the feedback here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and turn that down. Push pause on that. Let's go ahead and switch over. Thank you all so much for waiting. Hello, hello, hello. Ahoy. Did you guys know that that's actually what people said before hello was invented? I read that in an email. I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems cool. So, all right, 3 a.m. Here we go. I've been there. I've done overnight streams. Ahoy! Hey Pluto, what's good, man? We've got things to get through. Seems legit. Yeah. Hi everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming back and saying hi and stuff. Do not throw up in my room. They just got a bunch of water and they're just like, they're so like food aggressive that they're just like whap, 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 and we'll overdrink. Crazy dogs, man. Nuts dogs. Okay, so where are we? Where did we leave off? I think that Braxton was the last person that... Yeah, I think Braxton was the last person, so we're going to start with eFly. eFly, I'm so sorry. If you were watching this VOD, I apologize. I'll kind of... He's not going to be here, so I guess like what I'll do, because I think that a lot of people aren't actually going to be around for this feedback section, is I'm just going to go through and give everybody what I can. I know that Haslo is here. KN3, who is that? Who is KN3? I know who that is. I can't put my finger on that. I'm Stealth, okay. Now is here. Actually, Now is not here, but Scottizen was here earlier. Emmanuel, Phil. I am nervous to submit my thingy because, well, it's mostly just drums, but I love drums. Aperture, Zenrik. There you are, Stealth. There's Process. Okay, cool. Excellent. Let me shut this damn door. Can you guys hear that? Oh, hey, Zenrik. Hi. Or, hey, Andrew. Ow, fuck. Ah. Damn, that thing is solid. Deja vu. Did I miss my demo feedback? No, we just got started. So the last person... So I did feedback earlier today, and then I had to leave. So, nope. Sorry. I'm busy. Yeah, for sure. Let's go ahead and get started. So, yeah, what I'm going to do is some people aren't going to be here. So if you're here, I'll talk to you about your feedback. If you're not here, I'll just try to give you all the ideas that I can. And that way for people that, like, missed... I feel bad because I almost feel like the people that were here earlier, like, I almost feel like they're punished or something. Since it's the same track, no, you were here, and I gave you feedback, and you can still go watch that. So there's that. All right, eFly is not here, but fuck. Ooh, I love Iconoclast. It's such a great game. I know, I'm kidding too. destroyed. This looks done. Why is everybody sending me finishing? Everyone's sending me finished tunes today. No, dude, look, this is mastered. This tune is done. We're still gonna play it out, but don't send me finished music, damn it. If you want to flex, go to self-promo. Yeah, send it to me in DM later. I'll get to it when I can. Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. This part feels kind of empty. Slap's a fair deal, like not quite hard enough to cook a chicken, but maybe enough to cook a pot pie. Oh, what a nice track. It's cool. I dig it. It's sort of like something I'd like to hear while driving around in GTA 5. Yeah, this was cool. I enjoyed it. It started off really strong. So, two things about this. One, this feels mostly finished to me. So, shame on you, eFly. However, since I cut you off and you were the person that was next, I am going to give you feedback on this because I do have things to say about it. Whereas for everybody else and the forward precedents, please don't send me finished music. That's not the stream for this. And it's not that I don't want to listen to your finished music because I love listening to what you guys make. This stream is dedicated towards helping you guys finish your tracks, not just saying, oh, it's done and then play my stuff out. That's what self-promo is for. I listen to all your guys' stuff, by the way. So Eventually, maybe not right when you put it out, but I do listen to it. I do usually like take a day and dedicate it and just like listen to all of self promo until the last person is posted. And then I usually just like react to it or something with a heart or something to let you know that I acknowledge it, because I do want to hear you guys' music. It matters to me. But this stream is dedicated to the people pretty much that have beat block. That's I think kind of a, I don't know, maybe I can like work on the wording of that, of like send in beat block remedy stream or something. I don't know. Maybe that way it's a little bit more clear, as opposed to like people that are like, it's almost done, but I don't know about the mix, or, you know, because those are things that like you can send out to a bunch of people and they can all tell you a bunch of different things. Mixing is super subjective. That's why it's so hard for me to give you mixing feedback, unless if something is like blatantly wrong with it, right? So, with this tune, really nice job. And I have to give you credit for that too, because I cannot absolutely take that away from you. When you don't know where you go from there type track. Yeah, but some people like have the tune finished and then they're like, I don't know what to do next, right? Like there's always like this twisting of words, I feel, with people. And you know what? Like I get it, you know, because people want to share their stuff or they want to have like an ear on it and all that. So I don't really know how to communicate that or set somebody best up for the pre-framing for that to make them get the most out of it. But you know, that's okay. I'm not upset. If anything, I feel like I'm failing at communication than people just abusing it. Actually, I know that people abuse it, but what can you say? So, in any case, I do feel like the second main section is kind of empty. I feel like that part should be picking up steam with like an extra piece of percussion, like as like a ride or something, or maybe switch up the roller groove, because right now it's just kind of like there's a lot of space that you have right here. Like right there, that should be a pinnacle moment to where like you try to make that the most interesting part of the crescendo, or not the crescendo, but you make that the most interesting part of the tune, or to kind of when like you're winding things down. So like there's still tension that you're trying to ride out through that, as opposed to everything just kind of mellowing out and then being like you almost got there but you didn't quite get there, if that makes sense. And then some other things is I think that some of your transitions can also use some work. This one in particular, if you listen right here, yeah, this should be having a high pass on it. Oh, I think I skipped forward. Yeah. There's not really a whole lot of tension that's being built right there. And I think that's because like you made that build up so freaking long and you kept the energy the exact same that you only have a high pass on like the last maybe half bar of that. So like you need to be adding like things that are feeding into that pull of a riser of a build, and I think that will like create a lot more interest into resetting in that way. But other than that, man, like this tune feels done to me, to be honest. Don't send me finished music, damn it. Don't send me finished music. All right, that was cool. E-Fly, if you watch this, thank you so much for submitting. Hopefully that was a little bit helpful to you. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. It's pretty much done. So how elaborate can I be? All right, KN3, you're next, and then we got Haslo. Haslo, I'm going to try to get through this pretty quickly so you can go to bed. I appreciate you coming in and being here. So thank you. All right, exported this with a short intro. I've not had make anything decent. Got feedback from you 2 weeks ago. Try to switch up. This is really quiet. Yeah, it is quiet. I do think that it's a good start, but if you're trying to make this a roller, then you need to think about the baseline relationship that you have between this, because right now you're just doing bum 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 bum, and then you have the same kick snare pattern behind that, and so you have way too much space behind the idea of what a roller is supposed to be. So like if you go and you listen to like an actual roller tune, like there's usually a bass hit like double that, right? It's usually boom 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 boom. And so like and it doesn't have to be bass, right, with that, but you want to kind of have something that fills that void in between. The other thing is you have that higher pitch kind of synth that goes above. And the problem with it is that it, like, even during your transitions and your fills and stuff, you never like cut it out. So like you have some cool and interesting fills right here, and definitely good job on that, because that's a big improvement. But the problem is that you don't stop it. Like when you do a fill, cut everything else out except for that fill, and that will give you like a clean reset. But when you just have the dun 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 dun, like it gets static really quickly because it's only two notes, right? Excuse me. And so like you want to give that a break too. See, like even right there, you still have that thing going up and going above and all that stuff. And so like that kind of pulls it back from you having this relationship, because I think like, okay, I need to make a video on this. Somebody please remind me. But one of the best pieces of advice that I can give you is to get out of the progression style of making music. Okay, and does everybody know what I mean by that? Because it's so easy for us to be in this like this dynamic of one element, two elements, three elements, all the elements together, and then it just sounds static, right? It works really well when you're in a meditative thing, and that it works really well for house and stuff. But when you are making a tune like this, that's a lot faster, that is like trying to keep your attention span at a much faster level, you have to have more change-ups. You have to have more deliberation whenever you are voicing all these instruments and stuff. And I'm not saying that like you can't pull it off, but a lot of times that mindset of arrangement usually leads to like, how do I say? It usually leads to like, man, how do I how do I say this? It's like an amateur, fuck man, because like you are where you are, wherever your skill is at, and that's totally fine. And I'm not trying to like criticize anybody for doing that, but man, yeah, I guess like there's no way to say it any other way other than it sounding like it's amateur. And so what you want to do is, instead of thinking about building a progression like that, you need to think about changing the way, or study like the way that arrangement works. Like have an intro, have something that's a really solid idea, and don't worry about like hammering all the elements all at once, or maybe like almost all the elements and then doing a small switch up for your B section. But when something is like, someone's just starting out, right? Like it reminds me of people that do like sequence music, or like somebody that makes music with a sequencer, and like you just let it play, and then you're letting the sequencer do its own thing, and then you're adding music to it, or you're adding small elements to it that just set on loop. And like if you're doing that for a live performance, that makes sense, but when you're doing it as an actual track, like it's not, you know what I mean? Like it's not very dynamic. It's not very exciting. It's cool because everything comes together, but the thing is that whenever you do that kind of stuff, like with that kind of music, it usually leads to a more mellow type of atmosphere. Also, introducing a good element just one at a time. This dude have cracked VSTs? Who has cracked VSTs? I don't have any cracked VSTs. So yeah, like introducing one good element as opposed to like element and stuff can be very, yeah, I do agree. And I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying like that's one of the biggest traps that I find people running into whenever they're trying to level up their game. Well, that was awkward. Hi Dan, how are you? And so instead, what I would recommend is like have like a really big intro, right? Have something that's like on the complete opposite spectrum, and then bring everything else out in that way to surprise. as opposed to kind of like letting everything ride out and then slowly taking away one element at a time as an outro. Like think bigger than that. Sorry, wasn't going to put it in here. What are you talking about, dude? I had the nick years before I knew it's also Polish. This dude have cracked VSTs. Hey, Warehog, how are you? What are you talking about? Who's got cracked VSTs? Experimenting in the arrangement itself is fun. Yeah, I agree. So like, and I don't mean that in a mean way, you know, because like where your skill set is, where your skill set is at, is totally fine. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is to like kind of, hopefully like more so like try to help you expand beyond and like really like take a very subjective look at how arrangements go, if that makes sense. And so if you get this and you're reading this and stuff, like I do think that the track has a lot of good things going for it, but try to make it more dynamic in that sense. Change up something more dramatic and don't worry about trying to like just introduce one thing slowly at a time and stuff. I was typing on a group with friends and accidentally pasted the text here, so no worries. Oh, okay, I was like, what? Like, where did you draw that conclusion and who was that geared towards? But yeah, totally fine. So yeah, good stuff, man. Is it okay to send a track? Warehog, didn't you send a track earlier? I think you do. You still have. I think that you still have a queue. But good stuff, man. Keep working on this. And I'm sorry, I don't actually remember what advice I gave to you earlier. So I asked earlier, but did someone? Yeah, go ahead, send one in. Try to like really identify what the roller aspects of your tune are, if that's what you're going for. But right now, the bass and the drum relationship that you have kind of don't give it the energy that you're really looking for. And the fact that like everything is kind of consistent throughout the whole thing doesn't help you build energy. So you have to think about introducing an element, or you have to think about changing, you know, everything up in a different way in order to kind of keep that interest flowing. Unless if it's just a groovy ass thing. But right now, I don't think that your kick, snare, and your bass line are enough to really kind of drive the track forward, if that makes sense. Because right now, it just seems like your drums are kind of on a loop. Actually, it just seems like most of the stuff is a loop, and then kind of like I was talking about before, you have everything looping, and then you just like add one element over it. You got to be a little bit more, think outside the box. I think that you can go a little bit further than that. But thank you for sending that in, KN3. I appreciate it. All right, Haslo, you're next. Brooding aliens. Haslo, why are you always sending me 8-minute tracks? Like, I love you, man, but you send me the longest tunes. So definitely less width than it was before you took your time out. So what I added were Final Break of the Choir. I'm so sorry. Does this repeat or is this like super different? Shouldn't repeat that much. Okay. I'm just saying that's a very big time to give you feedback. Scott, thanks for coming back, man. Even if you miss it, I'm gonna leave this up for a week or so, okay? So I will get to your feedback. I'm sorry that you're getting to it so late. I apologize. Yeah, every Thursday I do track review. Well, I do creative tune feedback. So like I help you get over your beat block for unfinished tunes. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. 3:30 a.m. gang. No worries, it'll be Indian soon. Fuck yeah. We need a different color for aliens. Where was red? There we go. Yeah. Hold on. Yo, what? Have any of you guys seen the Mortal Kombat movie? Or if you haven't seen the second Mortal Kombat movie, if it's not, they also played that song in Animatrix. You guys know what I'm talking about? That reminds me of this so much. So that was a really good call. Congo Fury, is that what it's called? Yeah. Yes. Okay, cool. I'm glad I'm not the only person that caught that. Sorry, let's continue. Goa fire. Dawson had a son, and instead of yoga, it's Goa. Goa flame. Goa fire. Goa. Goa fire. German techno song from Super Troopers? I don't remember that one. I do remember Super Troopers though. It's a really good transition. Go forth, my son, and create the trance. Hey, Paulie. I was told my psytrance wasn't dark enough. I don't know enough about psytrance to make that call. Or Goa trance for that matter. Oh, is Goa trance technically more dark? Forced and Dark Side are the dark ones? Okay. Goa is usually harder, not necessarily darker though. Goa is more Indian. Yeah. yeah, I know nothing about this stuff, so I'm just like taking it for what it is. The way champagne is from champagne totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Haslo, that was really well done, man. Good job, dude. I feel like I don't know if like most of your finished tunes, and I know that this tune isn't quote unquote done. It feels close to being done other than some mix stuff. But I don't know if like most of your tunes sound like this, but either A, you've been holding out, or B, you've gotten a lot better. Just like with the production value of your stuff, right? And like it's hard for me to give you advice on this because it's not my kind of music. But I will say that it was a fun track. It was 7 minutes long, but it didn't feel like 7 minutes, at least not to me. So there's definitely that, and I really like the way that you did most of these transitions. The only thing that I would say is that I think that your intro wasn't 3 hours ago. The only thing that I would say is that your intro does kind of like drag on a bit, and then also I think that you need to work on this section here to kind of link the crazy, you know, soundscape-ish thing to the actual beat. Goes like a mental journey that takes you back to reality, if it's done well, right? And so like maybe what I would do is like right here at this pinnacle section, I would cut all this other stuff that you have in between and do like a really big kind of like washout of ambience, and then slowly, like with a bunch of reverb, start to introduce one of the elements that are in here and slowly start to creep that in, have a big riser, and then kind of drop the beat in that way. The only other thing that I really have for this in particular is that I think that the vocals are a little bit overpowering compared to the rest of your mix. They're just kind of, yeah, I don't know how else to describe that. They're just kind of overshadowing. Good idea, the riser. Where is it? So that seems way louder than all the other elements of your track. And it might be because it's not sidechained. But maybe what I would do personally, actually, I'd have to listen to it without my beanie, but it does kind of seem like there's some low-mid issues right there. So, I mean, other than that, though, man, this was a really fun tune. So you're pretty much done with it. Just master it and, you know, maybe work on the transition on the intro bit. Is the singing to the key of the track? I don't know, but it works for me. I didn't really think that it was off. I didn't really, you know, it's not like it's not like Taylor Swift and like A major or something. Good stuff, Haslo. That was really fun. All right, next up is Now. Really early idea. Just wanted to feel like participating in the stream. Okay, thanks a lot for the feedback. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have much else, but like your tune is pretty much done. Give me a warning if it's gonna be long again. Yo, Alckemy, I've been wanting to send you something. Can I still send one? Do you have an email? I don't have Discord right now. Why don't you have Discord? That's like the easiest way to get a hold of me right now. Fill stuff, I imagine. Can't use Discord? That was cool, man. That last chord is kind of strange. I don't know how I feel about it. Is there a way to turn the stream up sound but not the mic? If not, don't worry about it. No, because my sound is here. I mean, I suppose I can add a filter on here and turn the gain up if that's what you want. But I don't know if that's going to distort it or not. So let's just try like 3 dB. Let's see if that works. Yeah, it sounded off for me too. Could have resolved with another note. Yeah, and I mean, like, depending on if there's a counter melody or something, or if there's a different motif or something, I think that it can work. But I guess, like, at its early stage, I'm kind of like, I don't know about that. But yeah, I think, like, okay, so I know now, and I know his music. He's actually done a lesson with me, and one thing that I really like that he does is he'll put the arrangement down like this, and then he'll do purposeful things like leave space right here, as you can most likely tell. So he already knows what he wants to do with stuff like that, which I really like. I think that, like, maybe pre-framing the intro a little bit more will kind of help set that off thing up, though, and because right now it just kind of like flows in. So, like, I would like more elaboration on the musical aspect of this before you get into, like, this kind of, like, chord, what do we call this? Super saw, sidechain, super saw, future bass vibe, right? Something of the sort. But yeah, I don't know. It's that's again, it's kind of walking into like stuff that's not really my kind of music or whatever, but I always want to see, like, I always like when the chords are really big for a main section and then it goes off into like keeping the same kind of drum vibe or something and then totally changing up like the super saw aspect. So maybe like changing up the instrument, and instead of doing like a really heavy sidechain, you go into something that plays, you know, the chord progression maybe in a piano or something, but with different or like different instruments, and then you go into like a different feel of a flow. Because, like, the thing about future bass, in my opinion, feel free to disagree, but a big heavy influence of it comes from, like, I guess EDM and trance, right? Where, like, I would say that trance came first before EDM, and okay, whatever, like, whatever, young kids, right? But in anthem trance, usually the anthem side of that heavy sidechain supersaw is like towards the end of the track, because you usually have something that's really hard hitting or like a really like intense section that's really focused on like the drums and rhythm, and then you've got this breakdown that's highly melodic, and then you go into like the anthem style of that. Whereas in future bass, like, aside from it being slower, actually it's not slower, it's just halftime of the same tempo. You've got the anthem aspect of it, right? So I would like to see contrast within a second section, and that's just me, like what I like to hear within these kinds of tunes, and having that kind of contrast in general will kind of bring about this idea of like going big from small, and then it gives you an opportunity to go big again, or maybe from big to something different. And it doesn't have to be like big to small or whatever, but just having that, if you can do it with a juxtaposition, then that would be great, but that's kind of at the same time. But if you can do like these contrasting elements between like your main section A and your main section B, then it really gives like a very elaborate story within these kind of tunes. And because like you're focused on melodic stuff, it's very easy to do in my opinion, or it's a lot easier to do in my opinion, as opposed to like, you know, doing just like weird fucking scrapes and noises and like I do. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, so I need to figure out what to do with my stream screen, because I get a lot of complaints on it from, and it's okay, like I get why the complaints are there, but if I stretch this out, I thought my cursor was on this screen. That's so funny. Okay. So can you guys see right here how like I'm not full screen, but the thing with this is that like I can't actually go full screen with this without stretching it out, because the 1080p thing or whatever like doesn't, these things don't line up. So I'm thinking about doing something creative and maybe like a stream overlay or something. But would that bother you guys if like maybe I move this over to the side and then maybe I put all the information over here? Polarity has a really cool thing that he does with like this L thing. I'm not really sure what I want to do, but I keep getting screen size never bugged me. Yeah, I keep getting people being like, yo, your shit's too compressed. You need to fix it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Leave the sides out. That's how I do it. So just something like this, I guess. Or I could just like go for the epileptic with you. Sorry. Hopefully nobody has epilepsy. Yeah, I don't know. I'll do something as big as you can from the top and bottom and leave the sides out. Yeah, I kind of want to do something. I do want to put something there, though. Like, maybe I'll do, like, you know how, like, in classic video games or whatever, because you can't get widescreen, they usually have, like, artwork or something. So maybe I'll do something like that, or have, like, a cool, like, graphic or like, a GIF, or something of the sort. But I definitely will. I'll mess with it later after stream. You can always throw chat on the side. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe I can just pull chat. Oh, fuck me, dude. Dude, grab chat. Maybe I'll do something like that. Chat. I'm personally a fan of black background rather than crap there. Maybe something like this. I don't know. I'll fuck with it. I'll fuck with it later. Is the on-screen chat necessary? Yes, it is. It is a necessary evil. Especially when people are asking me questions about sound design. It does. But now you can make chat hella tall if you want. Oh, true. Okay, I'll mess with it later. But I'll figure it out. But I will consider all of your suggestions. Thanks, Data. But yeah, this was a cool tune. That's kind of what I have for that. Okay, Scott, are you still awake? Hopefully you are. Hey, I'm pretty new to DMP producing, and here's a try. I love some honest. At least you're able to stream right now? Do you not have power or something? Okay, I can't read this, but I'm sure somebody in here can, so. Cool, thanks for staying up, I appreciate it. See, this is loud. Oh, it's because I pushed the gain up. Duh. Appreciate you. No, man, I appreciate you. It's a default sentence where you share a song with SoundCloud, I believe. Oh, just in another language? Gotcha. Turn it up more. You're up, game. Alright, I'm turning this up, guys. And then I'm turning me up too. Yeah, I would like to be able to be louder than the music though. So that way I don't have to turn the music down. Okay. There were some cool things about that. The sound design I enjoyed quite a bit. It seems like some of your, correct me if I'm wrong, but it felt like some of your basses were like completely in stereo. Okay, let's talk about this. So, how do I give you the right kind of advice? Sorry, I'm thinking. This isn't me being frustrated. This is my thinking face. Helps me get the gears turning. Could be, yes, I mostly used one patch. Okay, make sure that your sub is in mono, and that will help a lot. Speaking of, your basses were louder than everything else in the tune. It's just, I have a tendency to do that too when I'm producing, but usually when I go back and master it, like I'll pull it back by quite a bit. It was just, which is dope. You know, there's definitely a place for it. But the problem, like whenever you're first learning with it, is that like when it was going, it was full, but like when you had the spaces of your bass, like it made everything else in the track seem completely empty. And so like kind of like what I was talking about with a lot of tracks from before, you really want to try to develop a relationship with the sounds that you have. And that's a really hard thing to do for sure. But that's like just as far as like what you're aiming for is like you want to have a relationship between every element that you have within that tune. And that's kind of going to go into like the baseline aspect of it, because like on some instances like you have a ton of variation within it, but because you have so much variation, you lose focus of like what the track is supposed to be. And then because your drum beat is pretty much the same throughout the whole track, it's these two, it's almost like you're jamming with somebody, but one person is drumming away like in their own world doing their own thing, and the other person is like doing their own thing. And like at times it sounds really good together, but then at other times it doesn't sound like it's good together because it seems like they're, you know, coming into two different things. And so like what you kind of want to do is try to like, and you can do that sometimes, but right now it's too much, right? So you've got way too much of this. You kind of want to let it go like this, and then maybe a little bit you can do that, but then you want them to play together in that way. And like call and response would be the best thing that I could tell you to study as far as like coming into bass lines and stuff. But I think that like if you can do that, even if you keep your sub as loud as it can, as loud as it is, and then you supplement it with other sounds that are just as heavy or something, like you can actually pull that off. But that would be the biggest piece of advice that I have for you in that way. And like I do say that like your drums are the same, but don't get me wrong, I noticed all over your fills, right? I noticed I noticed like when you took some elements away or like when you stopped the rhythm and stuff like that. But what I kind of mean by that is like the main beat of it is and like I said, it's not really doing anything to enhance with the drums, and it's really hard to do long droning basses for that long that you have with a beat like that, because you have so many transients that are playing within your drums, and those are competing for space and for rhythm against something that's really long. And that's what I mean, and that's why I say that like you don't really have that relationship yet. So like you can get away with like a little bit of drone bass of like, but then you want to go into something that's rhythmic with it, and that's like only one way, you know, like that's just an example, so that don't take that for gospel. But you know, instead of just like with the drum beat like right, I would just be like, which kind of goes into more of like a break or whatever. But to me, like that's how you would make it work. Monster from Noisia would be an amazing example of that. Well, no, well, I'm just saying like that's just one way to do it, right? Like if you wanted to keep the beat consistent, then like you can have like a shorter drone aspect of it and then have the rest of the bass line roll with it. You know, so like you know, something like that, or like you just kind of have to like pick it up, you know, like I can't really tell you like what to do because it all depends, but yeah, you do need a symbiotic relationship between the two. And you know, play follow the leader. That's a great, I think that's a good piece of advice. Play follow the leader. One is leading at one time, and you can make them switch, but make them play with each other, have them talk to each other, create a dance with them. And once you kind of get that aspect, then I think that like, I think this will kind of make a lot more sense to you in that way. And that's with any tune really, is any tune of like the relationship and stuff that all these things have together. So yeah, I don't know. I wish I could be a little bit more direct with the advice that I have, but like really like a lot of times whenever I give you advice on this stuff, like it's creative tune feedback. So like it's just a creative idea, if that makes sense. I have to get up early tomorrow. We'll watch the rest later. See you all. Yo, Hazel, thanks for coming in, man. Good to see you. And nice tune tonight. Take it easy. Does that make sense though? Sort of, hopefully. Man, this red light makes this like tree look like it's in hell. That's pretty funny. That's great advice. Love it. Okay, dope, man. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you for submitting. And welcome. I'm glad that you found your way here. Okay, Emmanuel, you're next. Phil skipped out. Then we got Aperture. Then we got Zenrik. Then we have Stealth. Then we have Process. Then we have Werehog. And then we have Christopher? Maybe? Sorry if I butchered your name. Unfortunately, I only speak 2 languages, and the only spoken language is English. Actually, I speak 3 languages, but the only one that's actually through talking is English. I'm sorry, I'm dumb. Okay. It actually misses a lot of stuff, like a decent melody. What do you think about it? Thanks to everyone. Thanks for everything you do, man. Oh, thanks, dude. Thank you. Yes, Christopher. Okay, that's me. Okay, for sure. Oh, what the... What is it? I can sleep in peace now. Good night, boys and girls. Enjoy the rest of the stream. Yeah, thanks for coming in, man. Fix it, Emmanuel. F. Share the private link so that way we can listen. F. Stop, Remy. Seriously? Oh, seriously? Oh. All right, well, I'm going to beatbox with my hand until then. DMB track was good, but needs a theme. Yeah. Polly, are you watching live? Okay. That's really hard to do, actually. I've never heard hand beatboxing before. Kinda. Okay. That was magical. Okay, let's see how big I can make this. Ready? I scared my dog. Sorry, bub. Emmanuel, what's up, man? Are you ready? What's going on here? I can only stall the show for so long. All right, 2 hot dogs are in a room, and they're talking shit to each other. One of them looks over at the other one and says, "You're a brat." And the other one looks over and says, "You're the worst." Get it? Topic to talk about for now. Does anyone try adding harmonics through reverb and then adding a multiband distortion above it? Not a multiband distortion, but I am very familiar with adding distortion to reverb in general. No. You're going to jail now? You see the bus driver come in. You go to jail now. I could probably fight a lot better than him. So, though I wouldn't want to find out. Bruh. Dude, you have to share the private link. So you can't just hit share. You have to share the... Okay, all right, okay. Look here. Go to soundcloud.com. You guys like my typing? Go to your profile. Find a private tune. I'm sure I have at least one on here. Okay, look, private tune. Then you go to share, and then you go to private share. That's how you do it. Did you fix it? I'm gonna play. Go ahead and send us that link. I'll just play it while we wait. This was, holy shit, this was 5 months ago? Tell me about it. Anyway, that's all you get off that one. Yeah. Okay. Am I Audica? No, I sent that to Audica. They gave me some advice. Or Skylar did, which is really cool. Thanks. Your track sounds like living... Dude, that is exactly what I'm going for, so thank you. Classic Alckemy blender in a tornado. This is you, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Hey, Fritz. Yeah, this is really well done. Hey, Cam. That was dope. Yeah, okay, so I decided to wait it out and see if I was going to have to give you the talk about having finished music, but it does seem like you've got a lot more to add to this from the way that the arrangement has or whatever. Everything up till this point sounded really good, but this is probably the part where I would start to introduce that melody that you were talking about, and I would also maybe like take a little bit longer to have a longer transition in between because the beat of this is so consistent that kind of comes unexpected in a way that I didn't really want it to do that at first. And that's just like a personal thing for me, right? And that's not to say that maybe for everybody else, maybe it was a welcome change or a welcome switch up or whatever, but I think that having a smoother transition between that, of like having everything kind of come up would be, would make that make more sense. And I do like it. And I do think that you should have that incorporated within your tune, but I think that it should be introduced a little bit more elaborately, eloquently, so to speak. So yeah, I mean, other than that though, like this whole thing was really cool. You clearly know what you're doing by mixing your kick and stuff with your low end. Like that was very strong when that came off. I was like, wow, this is really impressive. So one thing that I would be mindful too though is it seems like you kind of reused this little fill thing a couple of times. That one. Yeah. I would do something different. Okay. And something that I hear right here is like boom, bum, 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 bum. You know, something like that I think could be a cool melody that kind of fits into that. And what that can do is like you can kind of just take that as like a piece of the full melody. Yeah, I like that so much. I like it so much, but I agree with you. Well, that's fine then. Keep it. You know, if you like it, reverse it. Yeah, or just like bounce the master of that particular section and stretch it out and then do something interesting to it. But one thing that I think that could, yeah, so like once you incorporate that melody, I think something that could be kind of cool is like you use that just as a piece of like, it's just the first part that's repeating. And then you like segue that out after your kind of trap section into a more elaborate melody to where things like you have your chords and you've got your big wide thing that goes musical. Or I don't know if this kind of music does that, but that's what I would do anyway. Excuse me. And I think that by doing that, that will kind of give you a really nice break, and then that will kind of lead you back into the first part. And maybe it could be kind of cool if like, you know, you incorporate the melody aspect of it with this, or maybe you just cycle it back and then you go into like the section again. The only thing that I would say with this mix is that your tonal snare is still just a little bit too much. Is this Linux? What do you make music with? You mean like what kind of computer do I use? I'm on Mac. I need a stick. I need a stick to poke my dog and say, hey, stop licking your balls. He's just like going ham. Linux based. Stop. Dogs are so weird. Oh, it's Chromebook? No, this is a Mac. This is a MacBook. Too much fundamental on the snare. I think just a little bit much. And you have to like, you got to be careful with that because, oh, laugh my ass. No, that's fine. You got to be careful with that because like if you're repeating your snare that often and it's the same tone, then like if it's too prominent, then that's going to become so distracting because the only thing that you're going to really pay attention to is that same tonal aspect of it, right? So like one thing that you can do maybe to try to make it work to still keep a little bit of it is to use a dynamic EQ and just put it on the fundamental of your snare. And so that way you're still going to get a little bit, but it's going to duck the rest of the volume on that, but you're still going to get the nice splash with it. It's not to say that your snare wasn't mixed well. It's just that particular frequency range is still just a little bit like it comes out a little bit much for me. Maybe add some pads in places for atmosphere, I think like in the second section, right? I think that would make the most sense. Right now where it is, I feel is totally fine. But once you like get further into the track and you get into that progression aspect, I think like starting to go into a slightly musical direction would make sense. Or not, or like, you know, or you could just break it and then you could go into IDM. Like that's the cool thing about 140-ish BPM is that you can do so many different things with it. And it's really just a matter of like what your vision is for the tune, right? But I mean, are you stuck on this? Because it doesn't, this doesn't seem like the kind of tune that I feel like you already know what to do. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you already know exactly what to do. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I mean, really, if you wanted to, like, let me listen to this part again. Yeah, dude, you've already got two main sections and a bridge. No, I'm kind of stuck. You already have two main sections and a bridge. So, like, if worse comes to worse, just cut this last part off and then write an outro to it. Because this already works really well for, like, a short psytrance tune. It doesn't have to be 7 minutes long. But if you are going to write a 7-minute tune, which I guess people are into, then try to focus on, you know, some kind of chord progression or some kind of melodic aspect to it. And I can't really tell you what that is. Like I gave you that stupid melody idea, but that's pretty much the idea that I have for it. And I don't know if that matches up to your musical tastes or not, but like you, in essence, like you technically already have a finished tune. Like my main struggle is that there's no cohesion with the intro. I disagree. Just elaborate on that. You've already got that note. Doom. Dun, dun. And then just like add like some counter melody and you're good to go. Like you're really not far from, at least if you wanted to complete this aspect of it, like it's right around the corner. Like, just add an arpeggiator or something. Cohesion with intro is so 2020. I think it fits. Maybe just have like some ambience and stuff. Actually, Cam was saying that pads and all that would actually make sense in the intro as well. And then you can kind of let that show up subtly, like throughout your tune. Like you're really just like one or two elements away from this making sense because everything else works. And that's the thing is like maybe it doesn't like make total sense, but it still works. So yeah, I don't know. This sounded great though. That's a really strong tune, man. Good stuff. I really like the bass line too, and I like the fact that it's not just a roller. I like that it's like bump ba da bump ba da bump bump bump. That's really good stuff, man. Okay, Aperture, you're next. I want to make it longer. Maybe I'll change this whole mood to just keeping the drums and have another song, but not allowed to post 2 whips, right? Yeah, I only do 1 per stream. Otherwise, I'll be here for 6 hours because everybody will want to send their whole fucking album to me. Yeah, for sure, dude. It's got some really peaky high end on there. It was really interesting though. So like before I give you advice, like what was the direction you were trying to take this tune? Like were you trying to create like a dungeon aspect, or like were you trying to create like more so of a soundscape, or like what? The title's Vulture. That doesn't really give me a lot of context, so I can't really say what you were thinking, but I'm curious before I give you advice of like what you want to do with this. Okay. Menacing soundscapes, I guess. All right. So, multi-band compression. First off, that will help you control those crazy high frequency peaks. The second thing that you want to be mindful of is like you don't need to drown the whole thing in reverb. Keep in mind that like when you put yourself in a place, the way that our ears work is that even if something has a ton of reverb on it, you're still in that place. So there's always going to be, because we exist in space, there's always going to be something that's close to you, and there's always going to be things that are far away from you. If the space is tight, you can control the surrounding area of it, but you can't control the fact that something is always going to be near to you, right? And maybe that thing that is near to you is your body, if anything, because we unfortunately in some cases we're attached. You know, we can't like take our heads off and like be like, my body is over there. So whenever you're creating these kinds of spaces and stuff, you want to have both things that are close and things that are deep. You can like make your drums really big and stuff too, but I probably would have your kick be a little bit more dry. Too bad we can't. Otherwise, we'd all be the Dallahan. That'd be sick. I could think of so many ideas that I would do if I was a headless horseman, which would be fun. Where do we send our links? You're okay. It's just, you know, I I don't know how to be more clear than that. So yeah, like your drums and stuff can have reverb and stuff too, but you want to have a little bit of dry elements with that to kind of help have this dynamic of being able to have something relative of being far away too, right? And you also want to realize that like we have this thing called diffusion, and the further something away is, if it's drenched in reverb, it's actually going to have more cutoff, or like it's going to have more of the high end cutoff, because that's just how like diffusion works, I guess. I wish that somebody told me that a long time ago, because that's like an amazing reverb trick. But what that basically means is like if something is really far away, to be fair, the title doesn't say read description. I just pulled the title out. What are you talking about? Oh, it says doesn't. Oh, the title doesn't say read description. It just says read to submit. He's right. It doesn't say read description. It just says read to submit. Okay. It's not that hard. Just be observant. Okay. Anyways, it's fine. I'm just giving it a hard time. I promise I'm not that mean. Just, I swear I'm not that big of a dick. I just am sarcastic at times. So, but yeah, so the further away something is, the less high frequency content you have. So if you're going to have something that has a lot of reverb in it, then you want to cut the high end of the reverb off if it's really far away. And that will kind of be helpful to you. The other thing that this seems like is, so I can't use Discord right now. Is there what's that? Why is everybody locked out of Discord? Reverb on the snare, for example, or it's the whole demo? Like the whole demo, like it, to me, it feels like you put a reverb on your master, and I wouldn't do that. And I don't know if you did that or not, or just put a reverb on every track, but I wouldn't do that. Hold on, let me get through one thought at a time, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. I didn't. Well, I'm just saying, like, because everything is so drenched in that way, like that's what it feels like to me. So you want to be mindful of that. But the other thing that you want to be mindful too, because I can tell that you threw this into a granular synth, is you want to be careful about taking those moments of where the grain size gets really small, right? Because when it gets really small and you create these drills, like for one, that takes away from the vibe, but two, you need to control it in such a way that it can still make sense. So like, I don't know if like you got that from, I don't want to be like that dude and say that you got like the soundscaping aspect from me, but hold on, I'm going to pull Bitwig up for a second. That's the easiest way that I can show you. Wait, what? Come on, Bitwig. What the fuck? Okay. Bitwig is sleepy. I enjoyed your tune as experimental, kind of in the vein of early 2000 Auditor. Stop. Okay. All right. Do you want to? Hey. Okay. Bruh. Okay. Bitwig is not happy right now. What the fuck was up with that? Let's try that again. Okay. Okay, Bitwig. Although you might get interesting results. What the fuck is going on? Am I... No, I'm at 15% CPU right now. And that's hitting the stop button whenever I click this. What the fuck? What the... What? Why did my resolution just change? What the hell? Okay. Did it... What is going on here? Oh, okay. All right, so whatever that was about. All right, so if you take a listen to this... You're going to see right here that the grain size will come down a bit. And on this particular thing, there is a bunch of reverb, but if I were to have drums on this, I wouldn't, I would probably leave my drums pretty dry. But you'll see here that I've also got filtering that's going on to try to help with that for whenever this stuff does kind of come down. But if you play this at a higher note, then whenever the grain size gets too small, it's going to become too like too noticeable. I use synth. Okay, well then if that's the case, then like whenever you have something in texture mode, like just don't cut it too hard. Like don't make your grain size too small. And if you are going to do that and you have more control in that way, then I would recommend that you turn it down. Okay, Bitwig's just having a fucking fit over here. What? What is this resolution? I have never seen this before, but okay. That is so odd. I've never seen this resolution before. And yet it's huge over here. And now it's regular size. Okay. Did our entire computer resolution change or was it just Bitwig? It was just Bitwig. Sorry about that. So yeah, you don't really want to use those like really crazy grainy things. And the reason why is because it doesn't really fit the world that you're trying to create. Or at least if you're going to do it, like having an exponential rhythm, it can actually be very helpful, but those are the kinds of things that you probably want to put over to the side. So if you're going to have those like, right, you can actually make that sound like it's a door or something opening, which would actually kind of cater toward the dungeon stuff aspect that you have. But place it over to the side and make it really quiet. Because a lot of times within this particular piece that you submitted to me, whenever those buzzing things come in, they're too close and they're too wide and too big. So it doesn't really match up to the kind of like place or the environment that you're trying to create in that sense. Oh, okay, because a similar thing happened to me, but somehow it actually changed my entire computer resolution. Yeah, I don't know. It's being weird. Hold on one second. Okay. Sorry, just watching my dog be weird. So yeah, what I would maybe do is like start with the drums a little bit dry, or at least the kick a little bit dry, and like you can still have that industrial sound along with it. But I think like the reverb is the biggest perpetrator on this because it's really making it seem like it's just a wash of sound as opposed to like having something seem like it's alive in that way. And I think like the sounds that you're using are fine other than like the mix being a little bit harsh. But you can definitely take some inspiration from like Silent Hill and stuff because those don't really have a lot of melodies and all that, but it still kind of has this like this moving forward kind of machine type feel to it. And I think that you can accomplish that in that way if you kind of just like be a little bit more mindful about how you're applying this kind of reverb and stuff. And then also like because that reverb is, or because that synth is just drenched in reverb too, like you're losing any kind of like dynamic energy or any kind of like contrast between it because it's all just washed over with a veil. So yeah, I'd be mindful of that. But I think this is a great idea, and I'd like to see what this would sound like with some of the instruments being a little bit more dry in that sense. So, good stuff, man. Okay, wait, what was the problem? So, Dark Meta, why can't you get into Discord? What's going on here? Why is everybody like, I can't get into Discord? Is Discord broken, or what's up with that? Assuming Meta is still here. Meanwhile, while I'm waiting for him to answer that, if he's still around, let's go ahead and go to Zenrik's tune. This is my most recent track. I've been dealing with writer's block, and this is something that kind of pulled me out of it. I usually don't put stuff out like this, but your channel has been very inspiring. Most of the musical ideas are about done with this one aside from filling it in with more effects. Still need to work on the overall mix. Catch you next time. Drums are so quiet. Going to sleep, night y'all. Please skip the stream out. Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for submitting. Still working on it. Dude, I feel like your drums should be like... It almost sounds like you have like a metal approach, like a metal style of mixing to this, which is fine, but I think you need some deuce and some schmecks. Vocal right here, if you have some kind of like Egyptian vocal or Eastern vocal, would be really nice right there. Yeah, metal isn't my thing. Adding guitar to my production is new. Okay, cool. It sounds good. I don't know how I feel about that melodic direction that you just took, though. Like, you established this whole, like, evil... You established this, like, whole evil world of just being, like, super badass, right? The... which was really cool. And I do think that this works. Maybe it's just a little bit too early for that to be incorporated in the track. So, like, I wouldn't say scrap that idea, but I feel like there's a lot more that can be elaborated on with this particular section. Like, what I think would be really cool is if, like, we talked about, like, maybe adding some kind of vocal right here before that part. Sorry. Okay, so like right here, having some kind of like Egyptian vocal of just like, you know, something like that would be kind of sick. And then have a transition or a build that goes into that, and then go into like something that's more staccato that plays with the drums. So like boom, 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 boom. and like, you know, kind of have that build up in that way. And then once that kind of comes up, like you can keep making that heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. And then once you get to that, then you go into the melodic release. And then it's like, oh, damn, that feels like so good. See, those are the kinds of effects that I'm wanting to add. You just got to watch the tutorials on my channel for like neurobass and stuff then. That's like the best. I can't teach you that in the aspect of 3 minutes. Actually, no, fuck that. Just go to my website. Well, I mean, watch my stuff because it helps me, but go to my website, alckemy.com, and go download Abhorrent Mech. And well, shit, I'll just show you. Look, this is a free pack. It's literally free. I don't think I'll do another free pack like this because of how many people downloaded this, but I've got so much shit in here that yeah. So all that stuff, there it is. It's all ready, waiting for you to take advantage of it and use it. Royalty free as well. So I would just go to my website and download that shit. I'll watch the vids and pick up the pack. Yeah, it's free. You have nothing to lose. So I would download that, and then you can use and incorporate some of those sounds. And then like if it's too much or like there's too much sound for you or whatever, then you can I can't use that app right now. Is it just that like you don't want to, or like are you on your phone, or I need more info. Yeah, then you can just do a low pass filter on some of that stuff and then create kind of like a lowish growl thing or whatever. And then there will be a mixing aspect to it. But if you want those kind of fills and stuff, like there you go. That's an easy cheat sheet for that. And then I have videos on how to make that stuff. But yeah, I think like doing that would be a great way to segue into that actual like musical part. And I think that like there should be a longer transition between going from that really hard section into that musical part, just because it's such a big change of the vibe, and doing it in that way doesn't necessarily make sense, especially like if you're in the means of a story. Because like if like when I listen to this stuff, like when I listen to the melodic aspect of it, it seems like it's a release, and that could be in the sense of it being like a triumphant victory where, you know, we're celebrating, or something like a deep struggle is over, or like, you know, something is resolved. But the problem with it is that in the in-between, there's no battle. And that's what I feel like there needs to be between that. So like you're in this thing, right? You've got this tension and this darkness that you're trying to like trudge through or whatever, but there needs to be at least some kind of section in between right there to where there's that shift. And at least for this particular tune, and that's just my personal bias of like how I would do it, but maybe, you know, you can make things go more evil, or maybe you can make things bring up more tension in that way and then give off that release, or you can kind of just like slow everything down. You know, maybe somebody is having like a crazy, you know, mental moment or something, and they're about to go on the brink, and then instead of like things getting worse and worse, it dials out in silence. And then you slowly hear this musical, like beautiful music thing come in, and suddenly somebody realizes that they don't have to like put themselves through these things anymore or whatever. So those kinds of things, you know, are really good storytelling elements. And that's why I always try to say, like, once you have a vibe of the tune, try to like create a story out of it, because sometimes that can tell you like what it is that you want to do with it, or what it is that you want to feel out of it. So And it really changes the way that you start to think about like finishing a tune, especially when you have a bunch of different parts, right? And this is like for stuff that's very peculiar, right? Like if you're just trying to do like a vibe, like a banger or something, like just fucking bang out and like have that one idea and play that shit for 2.5 minutes. But when you're talking about storytelling, like you want to have different parts, you want to have chapters, and each specific part of your song has that, right? So that goes into the idea about what it is that you're trying to communicate. And when you think of things in that way, it's not you making a song anymore. It's you expressing like what the listener, or what this character, or what, you know, what's happening in the story, long story short, no pun intended. So you know what I mean? Like those are kinds of things that I think of. And like, if I can get to that point, like, and I start to see a story within music, then usually I can finish it. But It's just trying to wake that up with inside of me that leads me to personal beat block a lot. And because I'm so overzealous and ambitious with my own music in that way, it's really hard for me to do at times. So yeah, like if you listen to my first EP, like every tune has a story in that sense of that way. And it's not like the greatest EP or whatever, but I was really focused on storytelling in that aspect. And I got too stressed over it. So that's why I was like, I can't figure out a way to get into this groove every single tune that I make. And so I just kind of opted for more just like, here's some fucking heavy shit. I need a break. But yeah, I'm sorry. Again, that's not me trying to talk about like my music and fit it into yours, but I'm just talking about my experience, right? And how that might be relative to you. So that's kind of what I have for that one. But yeah, man, good stuff. Hopefully that will give you some ideas to play with. Okay. Stealth, you're next. Let me see. Yeah, once we get through all these guys, we'll figure it out, okay? Can I do two? No, pick one. Hanging out. You can only do one. Kind of early tune. Totally didn't switch the link. Stealth. Guys. Stealth, are you here? If you want the feedback, you need to fix your link. Yours. Let's fly to Puto. I'm fixing it. Wake Alckemy not found. Sorry guys, the chair has got to finish the stream. It'll give you feedback. So, chair, what do you think about that tune? Ah, he says your snare sucks. I blast. I guess the chair is a he as well. I don't know. The holy chair says that your snare is trash. Oh wow, the chair can beatbox too. No, my chair makes noises. Usually. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but it was doing things. You got like 3 times the followers that I do. Why are you asking me for advice? No, I'm kidding. I'll give advice to anybody that wants it. Dude, I did not have the ability and I had to use Discord. It's not possible. Dark Meta, are you live? This? I think you've got me mixed up with the wrong Alckemy. I'd say it's off to a great start. That was cool. Okay, so I think that like having the bass, that kind of 808 slide, that slide 808 that you have at the beginning would be really cool for your intro to kind of like maybe open this up with ambience and then play that melody. So like a and then after that 8 bars, you can extend that a little bit longer and, you know, have those slide 808s of like, and instead of having this like this kick snare thing, like I don't think that's really necessary for this particular beat, because I think if you don't have this like beat right here, it's actually going to make this part stronger. So like you can keep the same length of the arrangement, or maybe like only have the overheads part, or maybe if you do have everything, like don't have the whole snare and stuff in there. But yeah, and then you've also got like this guitar and stuff, so like maybe trying to find a different way to introduce that as well. So instead of like the dun-dun-dun, you can just have like one tone that kind of floats in and out. Meta, I haven't forgotten about you, by the way. I'm just trying to think about what I want to do with that. So I will listen to your tune tonight. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. So yeah, you can maybe just like have like a nice easy power chord, or maybe just like a nice easy like melody, not melody, one tone that kind of overarches between all of that. Because I do like this part and it does come in nicely, but you've got all these other cool instruments that you play with and stuff, and like your intro does seem a little bit empty, so why not borrow from that and pull some of these elements into that before you kind of go into that kind of thing, right? Okay, and then like this is the hardest part about glitch hop in my opinion, and anything that has like these crazy like bass lines and stuff is like the best way that I think that you can get away with this without it sounding the best way that you can make sense of this, I guess I'll just say that, is to make each one, you just got hacked, bro, is to make each one take turns. So instead of having all of these other elements play on top of each other, like melody over bass over a certain particular section, you've already got the drums and that's enough. And so within that, like, let the sounds take turns. That's the best way that I can describe that. And you might be able to have like one or two elements, like you've got this cool like kind of like sine noise thing, like woo, that little thing right there. Like you can use that to kind of carry things over from one to one. But when you have these instruments layered over themselves, then you start to lose the focus of the rhythm. And the thing about glitch hop, too much face, just click on the link, Polly. So the thing about it is that you want to let everything take turns in that way. So if you're going to have like a main bass section or whatever, like don't have a bunch of melodies stacked on top of it in that way if you want it to kind of have that feel. Now, if you're going for a more smooth aspect of that, then you can have everything play together. But what you want to do is focus more on just playing the low end of those things, and then every once in a while let the mid-range kind of dip in and out. And that's a lot of like what Cohen Sound gets away with in that kind of region. But the thing that makes them so pristine within their mixes is that they have, I wouldn't be surprised if they automate their EQ, to be honest, because it seems like no matter what, as one opens up and one closes, it's almost like a jigsaw through the entire thing, as opposed to like one aspect being empty and then one opening up, which is a really crazy idea, but it does make sense when you're talking about trying to make all these elements fit at once. And it's actually like I don't know, I haven't done it in my mixing or anything yet, but I do think that's a pretty interesting idea to talk about automating EQ in that way whenever you're doing that stuff. Cohen Sound has a Patreon, where they did with production videos. Wait, did they stop their Patreon? I don't think they did. They have Patreon tutorial videos and it's nuts. Yeah, link, I can only see the letters LOP ID. Yeah, you go into Discord and then you go right there. Yeah, they have it. It's pretty good. So that's the best thing that I can recommend though for that aspect is you kind of want to develop the call and response and have that be a little bit more contrasting, as opposed to trying to make all the elements blend together at once, because I think that's the biggest poopatrator. There's a delay for my chat apparently. You're just not live right now. You're watching like older. Can somebody type that out for him, that he's watching like 5 minutes behind, and to try to refresh? Yeah. Thanks, Ware. So yeah, once you get over that aspect though, then all this stuff will be a lot easier to kind of go through, and I think that this idea will kind of come out a little bit more. And then Yeah, I really like this last thing that you have right here with these kind of like, I don't know, I don't even know what you would call that, because it's almost like a hollow wooden xylophone sounding thing. My bad, way behind on stream. Everybody's behind on stream. It's not in my control. But going into that, that would be where you would go and do your second part, where you would emphasize on the groove and then like really get into like maybe, you know, getting into like your groovy ass drums, right? Of like the boom, the pop, the pop, the pop, like more ghost notes and shit. And I think that would kind of make a lot more sense within that in particular for where to take it. Really, like the best piece of advice that I can give you with glitch hop, and the reason why glitch hop can be so fun at times, is because like once you have a main section, all you have to do is duplicate it and then redo and rearrange that. Or like you can take one of these ideas that you have and elaborate on that, because it's an excellent tool for foreshadowing. So like if you've got one motif in here that has a melody, like you can take that melody and turn it into an entire main section for your next thing. And sometimes that can be really beneficial and really helpful for you to get to the next part. And that's kind of probably what I would do, to be honest. That's, yeah. Now that I think about it, that's probably what I would do personally. But other than that, I do think that your sounds are great. I think that you know what you're doing. It's just a matter of like arranging it or organizing, right? Because arrangement can sometimes sound like a daunting thing, but really you just need to organize your thoughts, and your thoughts are your sounds, so to speak. So yeah, man, that was really cool. Thanks for submitting that, Stealth. Okay, we've got Process, then we got Werehog, then we've got Christoph. We already did Emmanuel, and then we've got Hanging Out, and then we've got Cam. Organoise. And then we've got Meta. So we'll get Meta in there. I'll probably close the queue after this. I'm usually in bed like 2 hours ago. Yo, I'm going to submit. Is it too late? You've got 20 seconds to submit because I'm closing the queue. Right as the queue is, it always happens. It happens every week. Okay, Process says very early, work in progress, hence the length, but hopefully it's enough for at least a little of your wise thoughts. I will do what I can. Yo. No, I said you can submit. You did say 20 seconds. I took like 10. Yeah, I said like submit now and I'll do it. Someone should submit Neuro Country. Please don't. please don't do that to me. Yeah, I take anything except country. I don't prefer screamo if you do that, but I'll take it, I guess, but no country. That's just one thing that I'm like, next, I can't do it. Okay, so with this particular thing right here, I wouldn't... Okay, so I actually thought that your drums were high-passed right here before you actually got into it, but your drums are actually full force on this, and like there's a huge punch at like 100 hertz, but that's like your kick being like, it's like you put a transient shaper on this. Wait. That's your kick. You need a little bit more thumb, in my opinion. And the reason why is, like, I get it, actually. It does make sense, because, like, if you have a really heavy bass, then it would make a lot of sense for you to, like, not have as heavy of a kick, but I do think that it's a little too thin. It's a little too thin and a little too sharp. It's like you took a bandpass and you pulled the resonance up all the way, and it's just like that little wait, like a really prominent plosive, something like that. So if you are going to introduce like the main beat as like the first element of your intro, then I would high pass everything and then have some other kind of element kind of come in with that. Or like maybe kind of just fade that in and then have like a really big crash. And then like right here, you should have like all of the, my chat has always been delayed. Okay. Right here, you should have like all of the things like ambience and all that stuff of like coming in really big and really hot. This shouldn't be the most quiet part of your tune. It should be like, whoa. At first he said that he had the headaches, and then the migraines came. Before he knew it, his flesh was transforming, and he found himself having multiple limbs. Limbs, 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 limbs. And then you drop it, right? I don't know, something like that. Okay, and then the other thing is that, like, I would, within this stuff, like, I actually like your bass a lot, but I think that it should be a little bit more staccato, because right now it's just, it's so connected. It's boom, 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 and it kind of trips over itself. So, like, the thing with drum and bass is, like, it's actually something that I heard from Feed Me or Spore a long time ago, but he was saying that drum and bass is a lot about restraint. And so, like, I think that there should be times where, like, you are playing the bass in that way, but not for the whole thing. So, like, you want to have those spaces in there. Boom, 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 boom. Because right now, just having that whole thing like just creates this huge motion, and it does make it bouncy in some cases, but it kind of takes away from the heaviness that I think that you're trying to go for. It takes away from the heaviness that you're trying to go for. Sorry. You're also losing your snare because your bass is so much louder. Wow, 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 right? So like I would make that shorter. And if you do that, like you're going to have these little pockets of space in between, and I think that it's actually going to enhance your rhythm within that. Makes sense though. All the heaviness needs to contrast against something or it won't feel heavy. Right. Like if the whole thing is heavy, it's just going to seem loud. So like in order for something to like feel heavy, you have to have something to compare it to, right? I think the bass line is cool. And I like that little fill that you have right there. And then like, I guess like maybe if this is like your main thing that you wanted to do, like for your B section, you can add a ride. So like a I think could be kind of cool, but like you're kind of caught in between this thing that like wants it to be kind of like a stomper. I don't even know what the fuck that means, but it makes sense in my head of like a blah, 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 right? And then also being kind of like a roller. And so like what you can do is play between those two ideas where you have this like really heavy oppressive kind of aspect to that, and then you can kind of go in and back off a little bit and then really focus on like bringing the rhythmic aspects of this part out. Discovering so many dope artists, and dude, the Discord has so many good artists here. A lot of people that come in are way better than me too, and it's really cool and really refreshing to just hear some of the stuff that people are doing. So yeah, but that's probably what I would do for that one in particular. I think that's enough advice on that one, but good stuff. Process if you see this. Sorry, I know that we're live right now, but if you guys like have thoughts, leave that in the comments for the future stream. That would help me out a lot of just like having something to talk about or whatever. But yeah, that's why I don't like doing feedback like that, because people will like leave a comment and I won't even remember what I said, because I do a lot of feedback in a day. And then when people are like, yeah, remember like from last week, you know, like whatever you said. And I'm like, no, that was 7 days ago, 27 submissions earlier. So let's heat the stream up. Don't worry about the waveform though. I rendered it straight from a project. Is this tune done, or is this a work in progress? No, it's not done. It's an idea experiment. Okay. It's I skipped yours? Holy shit. No, I didn't. I did. I'm so sorry. I guess I read Christoph's thing. My bad. You're next. Fresh off the computer. No worries, bro. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're still working on this tune? I remember this tune. Oh, I changed the first half drastically. Thanks, Data. This tune feels very blue to me. Do you guys get blue vibe from that as well? Part and make full halftime? I totally disagree, but it is a suggestion. Okay, so I heard this. He sent this tune in to me a long time ago. I don't remember how long ago, but I do remember it. I don't remember the advice that I gave you on it, but I do remember the tune. I really like this tune. It was on New Year's Eve. Okay, so that was like a month ago. Okay, so the big thing with this is that rather than change the vibe of the tune, I think that your bass is too prominent. I think that is totally combative against the vibe of the initial concept that you set up. And so what I would do is, for one, turn the bass a little bit down, but also only let that middle thing come up in certain instances. Like, you can introduce the bass before the drums on this part even start, but kind of have it just be on the low end, you know, kind of like a garage type of neuro bass of just like, right? Like Mosaic from Cohen Sound and from the Movember thing. That's a great example of that. But you have so many beautiful melodies like in this part right here, and it was so emotional before you added all that, and like right now you're just showering it or like totally covering it all up with that particular bass, and you don't need that. I think that in particular cases you can make it work, but that's why I'm so keen on only like making those kinds of really big like neuro movement sounds be in fills or particular accents of the rhythm, because it's like the way that I think about bass is just like, to me, I think about bass as my anger, or I think about bass as like all of the mean, or like the heavy. I guess that's the only way that I can really describe it, because maybe not even anger in some cases, but the inner energy inside to kind of voice out. But if it's playing the entire track, then you're just yelling at somebody, at least in my opinion, right? If you're just playing all of the basses and shit, right? Like you're just yelling at somebody. So what I would think about instead is letting that communicate in certain parts within the melodies and stuff that you have on here, and then whenever the other melodies and stuff stop speaking, you open it up with that. And that's why I like doing that with fills and all that. That's a philosophy. Like you don't have to agree with it, but that's just, you know, that's just how I like to think about those kinds of things. But but when it's just overly prominent in that way, like it conflicts with the vibe of the tune that you're going for in general. So I would just put a low pass on it, and maybe like at certain times kind of open it up, not even all the way. And you know, because like especially this part right here, boom 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 boom, like there's so many rhythmic opportunities that you can do in between there too that just sounds so pretty, or that would sound so pretty. I think I told you before, like if I were going to do like a melodic IDM tune, like I think that I would go for something like this. And then we talked about echo, I remember now. Maybe my memory is better than I thought. It just has to like kind of catalyze, because I remember we talked about that. This is like super echo vibes. So yeah, don't force the bass. Side effects may include violent sudden neurobase and episodes of death and cancer. Also, side effects include death, destruction, death, and death. Yeah, I mentioned clandestine. So yeah, those particular things I feel would be very beneficial to that. So like, you know, and with that, you've got a lot of notching in there. And if you want to make it have more movement, then during those things, one particular thing that you can do is add a frequency shifter if you're in Ableton. Don't ask me how, but I feel like this is an Ableton bass. I feel like that bass was made in Ableton. It just sounds like the filters that you use in that were in Ableton, especially the notch filters. It has that particular characteristic. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just what it sounds like. So yeah, you can add a frequency shifter on 50%, and then it will kind of have like a morphing sound whenever you do like pitching and stuff. Just set it off just a little, ever so slightly, and then you'll get some interesting movement and shit through that to kind of like spice that up a bit. This man knows his Ableton notches. Okay, yeah. See, I know it when I hear it. But yeah, that's really the only thing with this, man, is I just think that you're overdoing your bass too much. Or at least your mid bass. Like let all this other stuff come through, and like you might even want to break some of this stuff a little bit more, because like you get super IDM-y over here. So maybe like this can kind of start off as like, you guys ever hey Chase, long time no see. You guys ever see or you guys ever listen to that one Kingdom Hearts tune, My Sanctuary? She's got this line that says nothing is whole and nothing is broken, and to me this like feels, I don't know why, but this reminds me of like porcelain. And the porcelain is together, but over time it starts to erode, and like little pieces and stuff start to fall off, but it's still trying to hold itself together. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that's what you were going for, because obviously this has a completely different title and stuff, but having that kind of aspect or having that kind of aesthetic is really what this kind of leans off to. And I think it's because of the melodic instruments that you chose in between that, but that's kind of the idea that I get between that. You know, you've got this beautiful thing that's kind of right here, and then it falls apart in some cases, or maybe, you know, like a big, you know, maybe it's a tree and the limb falls off and breaks off, but then it quickly is absorbed and kind of comes back in and picks itself back up. I don't know. I'm weird like that. But that's just kind of something that I think about whenever I hear the relationship that you have between all the all the instruments and stuff. But that's interesting, man. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I swear I'm not high. I don't do drugs, but I do try to connect with music on a level in that way that gives me this like, I don't know, that's one of the funnest things, is just developing a world within the music that you hear if you really pay attention to it. And it totally changes the way that you perceive music, because especially like as a producer, it's really easy for us to kind of get in of like, this is the main section and this is the you know, this is the intro and my mix and my fucking snare and all that stuff. But you have to take a step back and be like, what does this art mean to me? And that's like where part of the fun of like why I like to do this stuff comes into play, because there is an interpretation aspect to it, whether it's what it's supposed to be or not. So yeah, I don't know. I do try to look at music like that. It's really hard to do with my own shit. Maybe sometimes it's too much for me. I don't know. Or maybe like I lie to myself, or like, you guys ever get that feeling whenever you make music? and you feel like whatever it is that you're making is like you lying to yourself. I think that's part of the reason why I loved like The Source of Nightmares so much, was because I was just in like such a bad place that I was just like, I really need to tell somebody like how bad of a place in life I feel. And things weren't that bad, but there was just so much negative emotion that came out from that. And that really spoke to me in that way. So yeah, I don't know. I love music, guys. Like I really do. I wish that I could connect my imagination to these things more, because I have so many things to say, but it's really cool to hear it from you guys as well, and hear these kind of beautiful things that you guys are connecting, because you're all people and you all have emotions and stuff as well. So writing anything major is me lying to myself. Same. No happy music. If you guys have ever been in Wokr stream, like, he will not even listen to happy music. So that's cool. I should work on that side of music a bit more. I don't even think it's like working on it. I think it's just like becoming aware of it, right? And just listening with a different set of ears, or listening through a different means of like listening through a different pair of I don't know. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it, is listening with a different set of ears. So yeah, man, that's all I really have, is just work on the bass aspect and then maybe break this off a little bit more. But I feel this tune. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that somebody can say about your music is, I feel this tune. So please, well, like, you don't hear through a lens, right? You don't. How does the new table feel? It feels great, man. It's really nice. And I had some shortcomings with the new setup and stuff, unfortunately, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm really not in a position to complain. Alckemy is woke. I'm not. I'm really not. I just like to cultivate. I like to cultivate. That's my thing. Whatever it is that we're doing, is we're cultivating. I was looking at similar tapestries. Crispy bass. Yeah, this one is my favorite for sure. Someone was giving me shit about having like a fantasy thing or whatever, but I'm like, dude, this is so badass. I don't care. How do you think I get these ideas? It's because I surround myself with stuff like that. So, there it is. Good stuff, man. Thank you for sending that in. Okay. Christoph, I'm so sorry for putting you on delay. I didn't realize that I had skipped somebody, so we're going to listen to your tune now. I apologize for that. Hopefully you'll still play mine. I had to repost it like a boomer. What do you mean, hopefully I'll still play yours? Yeet. Of course I'm going to play it. Why would I not play it? It's free to save this and drop. I don't know. Fuck off, dude. Who uses Dropbox anymore? Not me. Your feedback meant a lot. Thanks. Yeah, for sure. Do you have a really low bass? Oh no, it's just that your bass is really quiet. Too happy though. All right, so that was cool. The big things that stood out to me was that some of your stuff is out of key, like the vocal is out of key, and then it seems like you switched key over on this second section, and then like you go back to the original key, and so those aren't really like playing nice with each other. I do think that the main sound that you have is really cool, but I wouldn't necessarily try to ride on the entire merit of just having one cool sound, because you do have like an interesting image of like where you have the main synth and then you've got this higher thing that goes off to the sides, but it does feel like your ceiling is open, and so I would maybe have a chord that matches with that playing over the top to kind of make everything sound complete, if that makes sense. Because if you listen to this, like, it is a really cool sound, but you've got some emptiness there with your frequency range. And it might actually just be like your stereo image, and that's kind of hard because I can't always pinpoint like what is missing from that. But yeah, I do think that the initial concept is really cool. The vocal seems out of tune. But within this particular thing, right, like for this first section, I think that it is cool and it's a great idea. But like once you go into something right here, like I would definitely love for this to elaborate, because right now it's just a single chord that doesn't really have like it doesn't go anywhere. And that's kind of what I would like to see this track go. And that's just because you already have something musical. Like if it was just a regular sound or whatever that had no context, like we would have a different conversation. But that kind of chord that you have right there is saying, hey, I'm here, I'm present, I'm here, I'm here. Now that you have our attention, let it say something and let it go somewhere. Have some kind of conversation with it. Have at least maybe a melody or something on this particular part to switch that up. Just because like writing on this for about like a minute long or so, like it doesn't have enough interest, or it doesn't have enough variation to like make it seem like we're fully invested. So like you've got a really strong start, but the goal of this tune in particular is to kind of keep pulling us in and to really make us feel this connection with whatever like instrumentation that you have within that. And to do that, you have to have more story elements. And so, you know, like I said, like the bass and stuff is really cool in that way, but that's kind of what I would look for in that. I don't have any issues with the sound design. It's really cool. You know, it's kind of like that vocoder. It's getting late for me. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this. You gave me a lot to think about and plenty of directions to take my track. Yeah, for sure. And you can just check the VOD later too. It'll be up for about a week before I take it down. And the reason why I take it down is because people eventually release their tune and then I get flagged for copyright. So hopefully nobody is going to release any of their music within the week or so, but who knows? We'll see. It's happened to me before. So yeah, good night, dude. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, it sounds like a vocoded. It sounds like a super saw, and then it's got a vocoder on it. Makes sense. I have no plans to. Well, it's not just you; it's everybody that's submitted for both streams today. So, but yeah, it'll be up for a little while. What else was I gonna say about this track? Yeah, it's just begging for a melody. Or maybe like a different chord progression, right? Because right now it's just like whatever the root note is in that chord that's just playing over and over again. So like you do kind of change it, but you change it in one of the most drastic ways by changing the key over here. And then like obviously like this right here doesn't fill with any context. So wait, what happened here? It almost seems like this was a completely different idea, which is okay. Like you know, if you had something that fit in between this part right here and this part, then that could actually fit. But as of now, like it kind of, the way you talk about music is doing it for me. What? What do you mean? So having something right here, some other kind of story element, I think would be helpful to bridging the gap between that right there. But you have so much that you can do. It was two ideas blended, but the same technique. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Needs a bridge for sure. So I think this was just like an extra idea. I don't think that was the main thing that he wanted to incorporate within that. But I definitely think that this needs to this just needs elaboration, right? You've got a strong start. You've got a good vibe. So now, you know, just add more to it. That's really all you need to do is just add more stuff and make it change a little bit. But yeah, man, this was really cool. That was a really cool bass. Definitely have an appreciation for it. Good stuff. Okay, we've got Cam, and then we've got Hanging Out, and then we've got Beyond Repair, which I think is where is he? Which I think is Myth. And then we're gonna get Meta in there. We're gonna get Meta in there too. I don't know. So Meta, the reason why I'm gonna have you wait is because there's gonna be a chat, and I'm not gonna scroll up. So when it comes your turn, just like post a link here, and then I guess we'll go. Please post SoundCloud. Needs a bridge for sure. Thinking of submitting next week. Is it okay if I only upload the drop of my song because the rest is extremely unpolished? Yeah, I don't want complete songs. I don't want songs that are like 5 minutes long, 7 minutes long. I mean, I'll take them, I guess, if you've got a lot of shit to fill in, but I like work in progress tracks. Like, if you have beat block, that is what this stream is for. If you're asking me how to help you finish your mix, then you're coming at it with the wrong mindset. I can give mix advice, but I have so much more enjoyment about talking about the open end of things and about like theories and about possibilities, as opposed to like your snare is too loud, because that's really dry advice, and that's so like use case and so specific towards a specific track that it's not my favorite. I can say that much. But when I'm like, then skip mine, it's fine. Is yours already done or what? It's not mixed very well. So is your track done, just not mixed? I mean, I'll listen to it, but I'm not going to give you mixing advice. And the other thing too is like, I don't have the tools to talk about mixing, right? So, I mean, I do have this, but I can't pull up plugins from Streamlabs OBS. And because I can't do that, like I can't really show you what's wrong with your mix. So you literally have to take my word for the advice that I give you and take it as if it's true. You really don't have to, but like I have no footing under that. I have no proof. It's just what I hear, and I'm wrong. My ears lied to me. So you know what I mean? That's kind of the relationship. But I mean, I'll listen to it, maybe see if I can find something else. But I like when people send tracks that are like really unfinished. The people that have beat block, those are the kinds of things that I like to take. Okay, cool. I've only got like a minute of mostly completed stuff, but to me, my song just sounds a bit repetitive and empty. Okay. I'm good, right? Sorry for what? Hey Frankie, what's up? Cap? Hey, are you still receiving tracks for submission? No, Dario. I closed the queue. I'm sorry. New monitor? Nope. All the same stuff. Yeah, sorry. I do Thursdays though. I do Thursdays. Or you can submit for peer review in the Discord. I'm getting frozen yogurt. Cane stage better, your shit will bang. Fritz. Make me laugh, good sir. It's all about the bang. Yeah, I agree. I think that like the overall vibe is really nice and really pretty, but you don't have any other instruments over this. It's all just the super saws, right? Right. Yeah, so you need some kind of elaboration with more melodies and more movement in that sense. I also don't really listen to house though. I agree though. I think that your sidechain is a little bit too hard too. And your kick is needs a little bit more sub. Old school trance builds like this, at least it used to. What if I told you it's a house tune and not a trance tune? No, technically he'd be correct, but this is categorized as a house. Well, he says it's categorized as a house tune. It's also 10 months old. Your saws sound nice, man. It's for sure more subtle than trance. Yeah, I would say like trance has like more of like a right, which I love, but I need a new laptop. That's why it's 10 months old. So can you not even fix this or what? Just tuning in. Thanks for the feedback today. Yeah, for sure. It's. I think you already saw that. Yeah, I think you left a comment on the first thing. I don't know if I responded or not. Any comments that I see, I respond to, but sometimes YouTube won't tell me about notifications, so I might see something like 6 months later and be like, oh shit, there's like 20 comments I haven't responded to. YouTube sucks in that way sometimes. I can, but it's slow and the CPU is having a tough time. Why don't you just bounce it to audio? Okay, so I think for the most part, like, yeah, all right, you're mixed, right? Yes, your mix needs work, but more importantly, I think that this also needs melody and it also needs elaboration. And I know that's a really general thing to say, but what I mean by that is like it needs more melody, it needs more counter melody and other instruments to kind of support the super saw. Like you've already got the main elements there, right? The main energy of the tune is already there, but because it's kind of repetitive in that nature, like you kind of need something to help supplement that. And I think that, like, you know, you do have some more rhythmic elements and stuff over time, but even just adding a shaker or adding something that brings more so of house in, because right now you've got a kick and a clap, but house has a groove to it. And I think that's one thing that I do feel is missing from this, even if it is like deep, quote unquote, minimal house. Deep and minimal house still have this right, and I feel like this track needs something like that if it's going to be house tune, because other than that, if it's just kind of like a kick thing, then it's kind of just like anthemic trance. If it's just like I would say, if anything, if it's going to be just the supersaws the whole time, then it's just anthemic trance, which is okay too, but you kind of want to figure out what it is that you want this to be in that regard, right? But it definitely needs more melodic elaboration, you know, and it can just be little things too, like just little pretty melodies of piano or something, you know, and or, you know, an arpeggiator. Somebody mentioned that earlier, like that could be an amazing thing to incorporate as well. So like you have a lot of options. Mixing, you already need to go back and do your mix anyways, so that's like already kind of like on the books. So I would just add all these other cool things, and it doesn't have to be a lot, but just a few other things, and then go back and focus on your mixing aspect of that. But yeah, I also think that your kick needs some more low end in it, because it seems just way too thumpy at that 120 hertz, it sounds like to me. Boop. Yeah, that sounds like a 120 hertz kick to me. But other than that, like I do think that the tune vibes. It does drag on a little bit, but that's just because you've only got so few elements in the track, and the motion goes in the same of going from close to open to close to open to close to open, and then at the end it's open for a little bit longer. So like maybe something you can even consider too is like maybe changing the last part of the arrangement as well, of like, you know, you've got these two things that repeat as kind of like a cycle, which, you know, is typical within this kind of music. But maybe do something a lot more, something completely different than the super saw, you know, close to open could be kind of beneficial in that regard. And again, like, I'm not telling you what to do. These are just possibilities that might help you make sense of this tune, if that makes sense. Make sense of this tune, if that makes sense. My English has not been very good today. I apologize. But yeah, dude, thanks for submitting. Thank you. Yeah, for sure. Okay. We've got Hanging Out. Who is this, by the way? How did you learn what each hertz frequency sounds like? Just sound design, really. Just that's really all it is. It's just sound design. Oh, you're Fritz? Okay, cool. This would be a great liquid track. Right. It's close. It's almost there. It's not quite there, but it's almost there. It almost has that Brooks Brothers feel. Almost. You're close. One thing that would really help with this is that like all of your instruments seem really dry. So like it just sounds like everything on there is just super duper dry. If you're going to do that, then I would maybe consider adding a shuffle over that. And one other thing that I would mention as well is I'm not sure, but is your snare in tune? Actually, are your drums in tune with that? Because that could be something that could really help since you have such a tonal snare in that regard. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about with this is that you omit the kick on the first drop. And if you're going to do that, and I think that you already know this, but like you need to have much bigger tension because like you go into silence and then you just don't have a kick on your drop. And it's like, wait, what? You know it's supposed to be there, but it doesn't quite work out because you didn't build the tension in order to kind of like blue ball somebody into that. So like when it starts on the snare, you're like, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, okay, now I know where we're at. You can get away with that, but you need to set it up in such a way that it makes sense because right now it seems that's a fractal of an idea. So maybe you already kind of had that in mind, but that's something that I would maybe consider in that regard. Classic blue ball technique. Yeah. Or your girlfriend dumping you on Valentine's Day. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully that doesn't happen to any of you all. Or boyfriend, or whatever, who cares? So yeah, in regards to that, yeah, I really want to hear this with a shuffle. And then also like and by shuffle, two things, like one, just a hat pattern. So like a fast hat pattern, and then a snare or a rim shot that's like ticka ticka. That is like your key shuffle right there. It's in every freaking drum and bass tune in some regard, but it's like your ghost shuffle. It's the same thing as like if somebody is drumming and they go that little thing right there provides so much energy and so much groove. Hey Monocle, sorry, I'm like in the midst of like describing something, so I saw you, I just didn't get to you yet. But yeah, having that little would really help within that. Now, if you wanted to kind of sound more so like a breakbeat, which is kind of what you have on here already, like that's cool too. But then if you're going to do that, I wouldn't like just kind of have it layered as like the way that you're voicing the bass line and like the and the chords and stuff make it seem like you're wanting it to be a roller of like the wow 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 wow, right? So if you're going to make it a breakbeat style thing where you're going to kind of have everything kind of pulled back more and all that, then I would break up the voicing of all those instruments and make it cater more towards the breakbeat aspect that you have right here. So instead of the wow 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 wow, bum 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 dum bum 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 dum 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 bum dum bum bum dum 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 bum 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 dum dum. Second section. So like you can even like play with that and do one or the other at first. I would go from the breakbeat to the drum and bass thing if you're gonna take that direction, but yeah, it has rhythm. You just need to like figure out what rhythm you want it to like what rhythm you want to flesh out and then flesh it out, because like it's got it, it's just not complete yet. So complete the polyrhythm in some way or another. But this is really cool, and I think that like this could use a lot of ambience in the intro and stuff, because right now like I did not think that I didn't think like wait. Yeah, Bloom had like, you know, kind of, I think he caught it more, or she or they, sorry, caught it earlier than me, but I thought this was just going to be a piano tune. But it would be cool if like you kind of let things, Bloom, kind of let things kind of blend out a little bit and have some delay, you know, have some space within this, because like it's cool because it kind of sounds underwater, you know, in some cases just because of like the way that you filter things in. So like really try to make that okay, I'm really sorry for saying this, but this reminds me of a very fantasy like place. So like, you know, to me when I think of fantasy, I think of dreams and underwater, liquid, But yeah, I think of dreams, and so like try to like give ripples within that stuff, and try to give things that kind of drift off in that way. And if you can do that, then when everything gets dry, it's going to be super centered and focused, and that's a great way to contrast of going from really big to more centerline and focused in that way. And that will give you a lot more drama within your tune, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, that was really cool though. Very pretty and very whimsical, I think would be a good way to describe that. And I don't mean that in a cheesy way. I just mean like those are the vibes that I get from that. Thank you for submitting. Hopefully my advice was somewhat helpful. I feel like I've been very general with advice, but that's kind of what this is for. Dude, thank you for your feedback, man. That was very valuable to me. Yeah, man. Thanks so much. Okay. Beyond Repair, Myth, you are last but not least. We're going to listen to your tuna. It better not be done. Oh, no. You're not last. We still have Meta, if he's still here. We still have Meta. I'm sorry. Yeah, we still have Meta. Word, uh-oh, your tune is done. If your tune is done, like, I'm not going to give you advice on it. It's feedback only. Maybe it's only feedback, or it's work in progress only. But yeah, if Meta is still here, then I'll let him link that. Actually, Meta, if you have a tune, just link it in the chat. Hopefully that'll work. But I had you wait just because there's otherwise you would have gotten lost in chat. So if you got something, you can link that. And then if Meta is here, then we'll listen to that. And then after that, that'll be done. And then I'm going to go to bed because I got to wake up and stream tomorrow and do my own stuff. I don't think he's here anymore. Okay. Well, I'll send him I'll DM him and be like, hey dude, just send me your tune. And then I'll take a look at it because I didn't get to, oh shit, he can't use Discord. So, I don't really know. I didn't really know what to do about that situation. Sorry, Meta. That fucker Alckemy, he left me hanging. Didn't give me feedback on Thursday. How could he? He's so evil. Sound vibes? How do you figure? What song does that remind you of? Yeah, man, pull the face. The snare is so good. tell you later. So what's not done about this? Even max out. Sounds like Optimus Prime ripping a Pong. So what are you still working on with this tune, Myth? Before I tell you what I think. Taking out the third drop? Jesus Christ, that last sound was insane. Alright, so there's one thing that you'll have to elaborate, but I think one thing that you might want to consider looking at is the amount of stereo that you have in your mid bass. Like on one end, like there's this appreciation for it because of how wide it is. But one thing that I really wanted to hear within this tune, because of that rhythm that you have, is more of an emphasis on the boom, 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 and you know, that particular rhythm that you have, because your bass is so wide, it kind of like it's there, but I don't feel that as hard as I want to, because yeah, I wish I could hear all the stuff behind the bass better, or like I would want that to be in mono, so that way like I get that a little bit more of just like boom, 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 boom. Because like I said, it's just not as emphasized as I think that it could be, and I think that's probably due to your stereo image. And then I would also say like the drums that you have, I would actually consider adding some more snares in. And not to like, I'm not going to try to tell you to make this more like that Mefuse and Monument tune, Disrupted VIP, but it does remind me of that tune, at least your bass does in some way or another. The boom, 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 boom. But if you have a second snare on the fourth beat, so boom, boom, cop, cop, boom, the boom, boom, cop, cop, and that snare hits on the boom, 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 cop, boom, 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 cop, then I think that's actually going to make this rhythm like hit way harder, because right now you kind of are just playing this like boom, boom, cop, boom, cop, boom, boom, cop, boom, cop. The bass was a resampled faceplant preset you gave out in free. Fuck yeah. Like to hear when my sounds are reused, so big ups. That's really cool, man. Thanks for repurposing that and making something like, I can't make shit like this, so I've tried many times. So that's cool that somebody was able to contextualize something that I made. So yeah, though, but with that, I'm curious to hear what that bass would sound like if it was in mono, and then maybe like the other elements that you have above, the you know, those kinds of things, maybe being a little bit wider and stuff. But right now, like, it's kind of weird because you have this really hard rhythm pitted against this smooth vibe, and the smooth vibe is the drum rhythm, and then also the melody that you have up top. So like, I'm trying to think about like what kind of relationship that you can have with that to make it seem like it's a little bit deeper, to where they're playing this interconnection push-pull thing, right? Does that make sense? And I know that's a subjective thing to say, but that's like really the only piece of advice that I can pull from this, because other than that, I'd say that it's like, it's crazy you say you can't make stuff, man. You can make all the things. Well, there's a big difference between sound designing and application, right? So I've tried to make halftime so many times, and I just can't fucking do it. I've tried so many times, and I cannot figure it out. I'm just so bad at it. But I would love to, do rhythms like that and stuff, but I don't know. I got you. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, look at your mixing, dude. Like this is pretty much done. I got you. Let's talk. Yeah, we can do that. So I believe in you. Yeah, I don't know. It is embarrassing how amateur my halftime feels, like compared to the music that I put out. Just half the time, bro. No, there is a soul. There is a soul to halftime. And I'm ashamed even more because that soul is like West Coast vibes and I'm from the West Coast, and I just like I can do it with Jay Dilla style beats, but I can't. I don't know. It's you guys will see tomorrow if you come in while I'm streaming, because I most likely will try to make something halftime, and if I can be upset at myself over it, but it's just not in me. Like it's not my thing. I'm from New York City, the real boom bap city. That's fucking hilarious because like I'm really good at making boom bap music, but I can't fucking for the life of me make halftime music. So I don't know what can you say. But this is really cool, man, and I don't really think that this needs much else other than that. I feel like the tune is really close to being done. Boom bap plus bass. I don't fucking know, guys. I really don't know. This is a cool sound though. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't really have much else for it, but like I said, the tune is really close to being done. I would just maybe look at maybe monoing a little bit more of the low end just to see if you can get a little bit more of that wave of the boom boom boom. And I think if that was really strong and really prominent, gonna do that in Patrick. Yeah, I think if that was really strong and prominent within this tune, I think this would be like the energy behind this tune would be like 10 times more. Especially like if you think about hearing that sound in a sub, like imagine it's just like that would be fucking nuts. So I would like to hear that and wake up my neighbors with that tune. So when it's done, send it back to me and we'll talk about it. I can tell you how to finish your halftime tune. I just can't fucking make my own. All right, that was really cool, man. Thank you for sending that. Dark Meta, this is like your last call. Is any Bueller, Dark Meta, are you here? Henlo, Meta Dark. I know that we said that he left, but just in case maybe he popped back in, I wanted to see if I can give him an opportunity, because I try to hold somewhat a level of integrity, even though I'm not perfect. Hi. Hey, Nox. How's it going? But yeah, I guess we ended up doing like 4 hours of tune feedback today. We had a lot of submissions. If you were in part 1, that's up right now. Let me see, how many did we have today? I'm not going to count, but we had quite a bit. So yeah, these are all the ones from today. So yeah, I'm glad that I got to get through everybody. And I really appreciate you guys showing me some patience, because I had to leave early for stream earlier in the day. So yeah. Oh, hey, thank you guys. I think that boom shika tika boom pap. When I think of halftime, I think of two different beats. I think of or I think of like the other breakbeat of like something like that, or Ivy Lab. That's the Nightmares beat. Anyways, true story. So if you guys listen to Nightmares from my first EP, and then you listen to Stop It from Alex Perez and Ivy Lab, it's like a total 1-to-1 bite. I don't care though. That beat was so freaking cool that I guess my lights just flashed. That beat was so sick that I was just like, I got to do it. I don't even care. Shameless. But yeah, all right, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. If you guys are not subscribed to me, please do so. I love what I do, and I'm trying to do this full time, and would love to, continue being a resource for you all. And subscribing helps out a lot. Or just go watch my videos and like set the playlist on binge, and hopefully you'll learn something at the same time. Cool tuna. Cheers, man. Yeah, thanks for coming in, Bloom. Submit something next time. I don't know if you have before or not, but I've seen you in my channel a few times and would like to hear something from you if I haven't already. I don't remember. I'm sorry. But to all of you guys as well, submit something. Not yet, will do. Cool. I look forward to it. I like getting to know you guys as musicians. So there it is. Oh, by the way, if anybody's here and you didn't make feedback, you can go into the Discord feedback and get peer review. So you can get peer review here. Just make sure that you comment on somebody else's thing before, and then you will receive feedback. We've got a lot of active people here, so you don't worry about like giving someone feedback and then not getting anything in return. There is a karma system. I need to write that down. The karma system is kind of what this is based off of. So yeah, thank you guys. Much love to you. I will see you tomorrow where I will be turning my mic off and just doing production. And I will see you all later. There's my dad. I need to eat something and go to bed. Good night, everybody. Thank you again. I had a great time.